And Mark Andreessen followed me because of that. Not like I've tweeted about A16Z. I interviewed at A16Z. I didn't get a follow from like Andreessen, right? But like I make a funny shit post and that's what gets me the follow from Andreessen, right?
Marketing is about values.
Nike didn't call me and sell me this in a catalog. I bought this swoosh because it's ingrained in my soul.
When you have a product that really resonates with customers, the word of mouth grows like wildfire.
Welcome to the MarketingMax show. Now, let's dive in.
Welcome to another episode of the MarketingMax show. I have the MemeLord here, the man, the myth, the legend.
Let's do it.
Jason Levin.
Let's go.
Did I get your name right?
Yes, sir.
And your MemeLord name?
That is true.
Cool.
It is. Yeah.
Cool.
I also go by the king of memes.
The king of memes.
Sticker king.
Wow.
Occasionally.
What would the Netflix documentary be named if we had to pick one?
I mean, memes make millions.
Memes make millions.
I think that's a pretty solid one.
Is the name of it. That's amazing.
Yeah. We were talking with some people at Netflix about somebody in our book actually doing a documentary at one point. So there might be something there in the future. Yeah.
Wow. You heard it here first on the MarketingMax show. We got the exclusive scoop.
Yeah.
Memes make millions coming to Netflix.
It can happen. Whether it's in this volume, the next one, because this is the first book. I think I'm gonna update it every couple of years with like new meme lords. I think that's the plan.
New meme lords. How many lords are in this book?
There's like 12, and now after I wrote this book, Memes Make Millions, and I interviewed all these meme lords, stole their strategies, then blew up my Instagram, right? And so by blowing up my Instagram, I have a comedy, funny Instagram. It's like a bunch of memes and like meme humor. Now I have like a lot more connections to the Instagram meme community. Mm-hmm. And so I want to interview some of those meme lords. And I also have like a lot more connections now with Twitter as my Twitter's grown.
Yep.
So
I think I want
to, it's how we got connected. Like I think I'm going to do like a volume 2 eventually. Yeah.
Brilliant. And you said you have an Instagram page. Is it one page or is it you own like a lot of meme lords, multiple pages?
Yeah. So I just own one page. It's called subway.reader. I read very funny, ridiculous books on the subway. How to live with a small penis, how to live with a micro penis, different books, actually, very different knowledge to have.
Same author?
No, different different author. So yeah, all sorts of like funny books. And so those have gone like super viral, like 24 million views on one of them, 15 on another. And, that grew pretty fast. And so now it's like, we're just having fun there and doing also these street interviews, as you know, and we're posting that on there. So only one page right now, but then the content goes on a lot of places. It gets propagated throughout the internet.
And do you do a lot of that syndication yourself, or is it
just
kind of viral and they just kind of other pages pick it up?
It's a mix. So mostly like other pages will pick it up. So if it does well on my account, generally like it'll get picked up by like, some of the big New York accounts, some of the big meme accounts on Twitter. And what's cool as you've seen, like especially with meme accounts or memes in general, is like once it goes viral on one platform, it goes on every platform. And especially with video, now video is like a universal thing, right? It's on Twitter, for sure, TikTok, Instagram, so
YouTube
if it goes
Shorts,
exactly. So if it goes viral on one, like it'll probably do pretty well on everywhere else. So like, you'll see stuff just randomly pop up on Reddit, like, and a lot of times, like, so this is something that I learned writing this book, right? As like a meme lord, it's okay if people steal your content because you're just trying to get your face out there. You're just trying to like, get stuff out there and maybe get tagged. It's great when you get tagged, obviously, but if it gets stolen and gets 100, 10 million views, like whatever, all right, I'm happy. I get to tweet about it. It's a story. It's funny, right?
Yeah.
And so that happens sometimes, but
all press is good press.
All press is good press. That is facts, especially bad press, especially getting, banned or in trouble. I just wrote about that the other day.
So this is the MarketingMax show, right?
Yeah.
A lot of people who watch this show, they own businesses.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And they can't sit on the subway with a book that has titles like you're talking about and share that piece of content because it's just not on brand, right? And so the title of your book is Memes Make Millions. I know you have a handful of clients that you work with, very big brands.
Yeah.
I think big news this week, it was revealed that you are the ghostwriter for Product Hunt.
Yeah. So I'm running the Twitter for Product Hunt. You know, it has over 500K followers and helping them out hosting events as well. So flying out to SF in a couple days to do that. And yeah, man. So I think when it comes to like businesses and memes, you obviously I can afford to be a lot edgier because it's my brand, right?
Yeah.
And like
clearly you're bro, you got the backwards hat, you got the hoodie.
This is my brand, like internet kids, right? Like this is me. Like I am an internet kid.
Yeah.
And I've been making silly videos since I was like, 11 or 12, posting them on YouTube, right?
Yeah.
And they're finally getting millions of views. I'm finally getting paid for it. But this is just like this is what I do, right?
Yeah.
And so if you're a business owner, like you might not be able to, maybe have tiny penis or something ridiculous, but you could be edgy and, have funny videos or hire, creators to be able to, make ads for you or hire them to make memes for your account. We're seeing plenty of startups post memes. We're seeing plenty of founders and VCs post memes. The Trung fans of the world, the Alex Cohens, he's a VC who's also a MemeLord, right? Chris Backey, who's a MemeLord, right? He founded and sold 2 $100 million companies, and he drove $3 million in revenue just from memes, right? So $3 million in revenue.
I've heard you say that.
Yeah.
Was that memes organically, like you're talking about, where you just post and they go viral, or was that memes as an ad boosted with spend?
Those were memes completely just going viral on Twitter. This guy grew his Twitter from memes and shit posts. And then under each meme, he'd just plug his software company, right? And because, they would pop off, he'd get a lot of inbound, and he ended up selling it for over $100 million to Twitter, now X. And now he's the head of hiring at X. So that's Chris Backey. He is a brilliant meme lord of like another level.
What was the company that he sold to Twitter?
It was Lasky. It was like a recruiting and hiring crap. But the thing about like,
recruiting and hiring crap.
Yeah.
Sold to Twitter.
Sorry, Chris.
No, cursing is great. I love it.
Not a big, not a big.
We're in New York. We're in New York for those that don't know.
We're in New York, baby. But like the thing about memes as well is, you get a viral meme and you're like, how does that help you, right?
Yeah.
We were talking about this before we started recording.
Yep.
It's the plug underneath. So you get 20 million views on a meme. All right, you might only get, maybe 200,000 on the plug below. But that's a lot of views. Yeah. Like people will pay a lot of money to get that much views. And even if it's not like, all in your target market, enough will be in there where that's just money. And like memes are so easy, so free to make. Like they're so high leverage. Like I could just bang out 10 memes in, an hour or a half hour, right?
Yeah.
And so like there's nothing more high leverage, I believe, than memes and like goofy humor like that.
Yeah. So one of the things that I love about memes is it's totally free to create. You just have to be really, really, really creative, right? And you have to be kind of on top of the ball. You're a meme lord. You literally wrote the book on how to make memes and turn those memes into dollars, right? And you've given multiple examples. I love that the book is most of it, I think like 60, 70% of it is literally just interviewing other people, which is great hack for anyone that wants to write a book.
Yes, it is. It is.
But you clearly, like I said, wrote the book. And so you honed your skills, right? You said you could bang out 10 memes in an hour. And what percent of those do you think might go viral? Like 3% on average, or sorry, 38%, like 3 out of 10, 4 out of 10 might go really viral on average at your skill level right now?
I would say honestly, like even less.
Less. Okay. So like 1 out of every 10, maybe.
I'm a good meme lord, but it's the fact that like, it's just taking a lot of bets, bro. Like when it comes to silly content in general, like I was, on my Instagram, for example, like we posted, 5, 10 videos, and then, 1 or 2 start just hitting, right? And so when it comes to memes, when it comes to like shit posting, when it comes to all this stuff, and it from Twitter as well as like serious content, is just taking a lot of bets. And so, when it comes to something free, you can afford to take a lot of bets.
For sure. It's just your time.
It's just time.
Yeah.
And so what was cool about my Subway content as well is like we would just buy these books for $9. We'd take one $2 Subway ride and have a backpack full of books, just me pulling them out, making funny faces, right?
Yeah.
So we film a week's worth of content, 20 minutes. That's it for like $30, right?
Wow.
And millions of views.
Wow. So that's amazing. If I wanted to do that, right? If I'm watching this and I wanted to do that, I'm sitting here in this comfy chair. You're the meme lord. I'm looking up at you on Meme Mountain. How can I cut my teeth? How can I start to be better so that if you're one out of every 10 memes or viral videos or videos that go viral, right? And I'm currently, let's say, 1 out of 100, how can I sharpen my skills? Is it reading a book? Is it watching some specific guy on YouTube? Is it, you think you really have to create 500 memes to really get a sense of it?
I think it's just being edgier, man. And when it comes to trend jacking as well. So like if something's trending, that is the best time to make a meme about it. You got to capitalize on the current thing, right? So the current thing won't be the current thing forever, right?
Yeah.
But when you see it trending and like, drop what you're doing and go make memes. So like Chris, for example, during the OpenAI saga, the dude just was posting, 10 memes over the span of like an hour, right? Because it was hot, right? That was our like OJ moment. That was our like, that was our big moment. And you have to capitalize on it because that doesn't happen every day, right?
Yeah.
And so, it sounds stupid, but sometimes putting away the client work, putting away the customer work to go make memes actually is going to bring you dollars and make more customers, right?
Yeah.
So it's a weird sense of priorities for most people. It feels stupid.
Yeah.
But when you realize like memes do make dollars, like it's not stupid. There's a strategy behind it. There's a method to my meme madness. So.
That's the title of your next book.
Yeah.
Methods to Meme
book.
Madness.
Yeah.
I totally believe in it 100% because I've seen it work for other people, right? You've given the examples before and I've seen it work for you. But also people thought I was crazy when I say, I make 6 figures a year solely on the back of tweets.
Yeah.
And, I was married 7-8 months ago. One of my best friends who was at the wedding, I met on Twitter.
Yeah. Yeah.
Phil Rivers, for those of you that know Phil. And some of my mom's friends met him and they say, "Oh, how do you know Max?" And he's like, "Oh, I met him on Twitter." And to this day, every time I hang out with my mom's friends, which is actually more often than most kids, which is a whole other story. But every time I hang out with my mom's friends, like, "Oh, how's Phil from Twitter? How do you meet someone on Twitter?"
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Actually, I built my whole business on the back of Twitter." How does that work? So you just tweet and then people follow it. So I understand that the next evolution of that may be or could be for me memes. But again, I'm sitting at the bottom of the mountain. Maybe I'm just putting on my backpack. I'm looking up at this huge mountain. You're at the top. A couple other meme lords are at the top. I'm trying to get up to your level. So let's talk about tooling a little bit.
All right.
I'm sitting down. I'm in a client meeting. I see some stuff's going viral, or one of my clients is talking about something. I'm like, man, that would be a great meme.
Yeah.
What are you pulling up to make that? Is it Canva? Is it some meme app? Like what is the tooling here?
Here's the secret. I've experimented with every meme tool. So Image Flip is pretty good for finding templates, right?
Image Flip. But
Chris Backey, the guy I was talking about, he told me his method during an interview, right?
Yeah.
And it'll blow your mind. It's Google Slides. The dude has 600 meme templates in a Google Slides. And because he's a CEO founder, he spends a lot of time in Google Slides. So he's fast as hell with it.
Wow.
So he literally just has a Google Slides.
Wow.
And it didn't start with 600, right? It just started day by day. He just added more templates, right?
Yeah.
And so I call it my dank bank. I just have, a bank full of memes.
Such a bro.
And I just go through, this meme deck every time I'm making memes. And you could just do it so fast, right?
Yeah.
And so another piece of advice, small advice, is in the comment section, on Google Slides, title it. That way you could search, right? Because it's really hard to organize memes. Like I was literally thinking of building an app just to for meme lords.
Yeah.
But there's
pretty
already
easy.
some, whatever. And Google Slides is good. And I could do it on mobile. I could do it on web. And it's free, right? And so it feels stupid. And maybe you can't do high level Photoshop stuff, but most memes, you don't need that. It's not about, fancy Photoshop. It's just about being funny, right?
Yeah.
So Google Slides is so fast, dude. It's just so fast. It sounds so stupid, but that's the simple strategy. Is Google Slides.
I love that. I love that sauce. How much of it is we're getting really nuts and bolts here, but how much of it is the font you choose and the color? Does it have to be that same black middle with the white border?
Yeah, no, not at all.
Bright colors. What's the strategy there?
No. It could be anything, dude. It could be literally whatever. Sometimes it's nice to have the, sans serif font or whatever, the Arial. But that's just because it's very easy to read. Like it's not because that's meme font, I think. Like you could experiment with it, whatever. And that's what's so cool. And so when I say memes, I'm also talking about like just shit posts in general, where it's like, yeah, when I say memes, like talking about shit posts where it's just text. Like sometimes it's like a meme, quote unquote, is just a shit post where it's a funny text and then like a funny image below, or even just text, right?
Give us an example of a shit post.
Yeah, so a shit post, for example, is like, this is really funny. So some of my shit posts have gotten me like big followers where you'd expect it, like, a smart thread to do that, right? And so after, I tweeted something about like, hey, I'm the PM behind Twitter's, product that you can't view your drafts on mobile and web. Sorry, I just got laid off, right? And Mark Andreessen followed me because of that. Not like I've tweeted about A16Z. I interviewed at A16Z. I didn't get a follow from like Andreessen, right? But like I make a funny shit post and that's what gets me the follow from Andreessen, right? What's crazy is sometimes these shit posts are what's going to get you the big followers, because all the smartest people, especially in tech, are shit posters. Like Andreessen, Gary Tan, Elon, they're all not afraid to be funny, because like who doesn't love funny people, right?
Yeah.
And you could say like, all right, they have fuck you money, they could do whatever they want. But like if you're willing to take that risk and be funny on the internet, you'll get the follows by the people who have that, fuck you money, who are all about it, right?
Yeah.
And so like I was literally in a meme group chat with Gary Tan, right? Like this is like a billionaire, like CEO of Y Combinator, like investor in Coinbase, right?
Yeah.
But he's in meme group chats. Like they're just normal people, and like everybody loves being funny. Like the days of being like super fancy on business, like it's no longer a thing. Like everybody's just being a goofball.
Yeah.
At least on Twitter. It's totally different on LinkedIn. It's totally different elsewhere.
Yeah.
But on Twitter, you could just be funny, be yourself, and like take risks, right? And that's what'll get you the follows is being, just being edgy, being funny, and like weird observations, right? And so I did another where it was like, replacing Andrew Huberman, that meme of like Good Will Hunting where it's a guy explaining something.
Yeah.
So I just replaced that with like a Andrew Huberman thing, right? And that got me the Huberman follow and a Huberman DM, right? Meme. I've read it.
The picture of Matt Damon, but you just copy and pasted some text that Huberman said, or some viral
basically
clip
like I was like, you just listen to Huberman episode 104, like next you're gonna think about that.
This was like last week, right? I think I saw this on Twitter.
It was a while ago, yeah. And so like I've written like long viral threads about Huberman's life, like deep stuff. I was like writing about wellness tech and health tech for a while, but what gets me the follow is the meme. Right? Like that's pretty crazy to think about. It's like anybody could write, a thread about somebody, but like, can you make a funny observation? Right. And so like, especially with the world of ChatGPT, that's when I doubled down on being funny and my humor-based marketing, right? It's like ChatGPT just can't be funny, unless you're making fun of ChatGPT, but it can't actually be funny, right? Like humor is the moat. Memes are the moat, right?
I love that.
But let's jump into newsletters a bit, because I want to talk newsletters. I need help.
Let's do it.
All right. So I run a newsletter called Cyber Patterns. It's about marketing, content strategy, social media hacks, a lot of my adventures and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And it's at 15,000 subs. It's doing great. It's a weekly newsletter. But like, how do I get it to 100,000 where you're at? Like, how do I do that? How do I monetize it even more? Like, it's doing solid, but like, I want to take it to the next level, bro. Like, I really do. Is like, I want this to be one of the best social media newsletters for like nerds, for like young 20s, like nerds and 18-year-olds who are like trying to figure it out. Like I was, right?
Yeah.
So what's your advice? How do I do that? How do I make it bigger and better, bigger? Yeah. How do I do that?
Step one is the content, right?
Yeah.
But my normal question that I ask people is like, why do you want to make it big and why do you want to make it better?
That's a good question.
You already answered that, which is one step ahead of everyone else. You said, look, I want to create something to help people who are 18, 19, 20, 21 years old to get ahead faster, to get to where you are in the game, right? So first and foremost, you have to create content that speaks to that audience and that is so valuable to that audience that they want to share it with other people, right? So like audience content fit with a newsletter is priority number one. Like it makes no sense to start scaling or thinking about growing or anything else until your newsletter is the one that people are commenting on when people are like, what's the best newsletter to follow if I'm 18, 19 and I want to get into like humor marketing, or I want to get into, making money on the internet or whatever that is, right? So that's priority number one, is audience content fit. From there, how do you grow it? The simple answer is, if you're serious about growth, you invest money in ads. So last year I spent six figures.
Scary.
Yeah, last year I spent six figures in ads. But this is kind of the thing that separates like the boys from the men, the sheep from the herd, or whatever that analogy is the big businesses, they invest a ton of money into their own marketing. And people are afraid to do it. People are like, I want to do it the more organic way because it feels more genuine. But like, we all look up to Gary Tan. We all look up to Sam Parr. We all look up to Cody Sanchez and Alex Hormozy. These people are spending, millions of dollars a year to either create content, or they're spending millions of dollars a year on ads. It doesn't matter whether it's Alex Hormozy, who himself has said he spends $80,000 a month on full-time talent just to create all of his content, or Sam Parr spending millions of dollars to get subscribers for The Hustle. We all look up to these people. It doesn't matter where it's going. This concept of organic being more genuine and building a better audience that way is complete BS if you're trying to grow it and if you're trying to scale it. There's a few anomalies to that. I think Lenny, the product marketing guy, he is a great analogy of like, if you really niche down and your audience content fit is so good that you're really the only player in a space where there's really no one else doing it, then you can get up to 200, 300, 400,000 subscribers in a couple of years without spending any money. But unless you have that 10 out of 10 audience content fit, and unless you have that like perfect niche where there's no one else who's really doing it, even coming close to that 10 out of 10 audience content fit, you're going to have to invest in ads. And it's scary for a lot of people, but like that's just the answer. It's a unit economic business, just like everything else is. It's CAC to LTV. How much is it going to cost you to acquire a subscriber? And how much money can you make from that subscriber from selling ads, right? Selling ads, or, getting advertisers to pay you to get in front of that audience, memberships, your own businesses. There's 40 million different ways to monetize a newsletter audience. And, that's something that has been proven time and time again.
Dude, MarketingMax is hitting me with the hard truths that I did not want to hear. The boys to men, dude.
So let's reverse engineer it backwards for you, right?
Yeah.
I don't know.
All right, so
we thought about this, but let's start here. Give me a pie chart. You don't have to give me numbers, right? If you're comfortable with this, but give me a pie chart of your income in the last 6 months.
Yeah.
Right? Where is it coming from?
Yeah. So actually, I made a pie chart because I'm that fucking ridiculous.
Yep.
80% to 90% from client work, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I ghostwrite for founders and VCs.
Okay.
And then I also now do man on the street as a service.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like 90% client work, right?
Okay.
And like my goal, have a lot of client work, but the newsletter is where I want it to be, right? And so I've grown a pretty solid premium base.
Sorry, time out. The newsletter is where you want it to be in regards to what? You want your revenue coming from your newsletter?
Yeah. So I'd say 90% is from client work, 10% is from newsletter and choruses. And so I would like to flip that and scale my time, obviously, right? And then end of the day, like I love the client work and it's very meaningful, but I think that I am, a very good writer and can grow it where it's like a big thing, like I want to be selling, a lot of books, like best-selling books, right? Like Memes Make Millions, first step.
Yeah.
But like I've wanted to be an author since I was a little kid. Like my grandpa was an author. My aunt is like a poet. Like this has been like in me since a little kid. Right.
Sick.
And so it's like, I want to grow this newsletter to like a lot bigger. And so, one of the things that I've heard from a lot of authors as well is like, if you want to get a publication deal as well as like, if you want a publisher to sign you, number one thing they look at, newsletter subscribers, right? Because it's the best predictor of book sales, right?
100%.
So, and we've seen that with Memes Make Millions. A lot of my book sales have come from my newsletter.
Yeah.
All right. So let's go back to that. Sorry. 90% client work, 10%, 90% client work, 10% newsletter. How do I flip that?
Yeah. You flip it by going harder on promoting your client work in your newsletter to get more client work to be able to build an agency.
Yeah.
So that the client work takes significantly less time to fulfill on your own calendar. Then you'll have the freedom and the time to, and sorry, not the freedom of the time. Then you'll have the cash flow to reinvest back into your newsletter. And then you can start flipping it that way. You need a cash cow in order to really grow your newsletter.
Yeah.
If you want to grow it really fast and if you want to grow it really big. So everyone thinks, oh, I need to grow a newsletter. I need 50,000 subscribers. I need a ton of advertisers. No. The real secret sauce of the newsletter is to use it to sell your own products and sell your own services. Then you can reinvest that money back into your newsletter to grow the subs. And then the advertisers will come. And then the premium subscribers will come. I know you have a premium
I've got a
subscription.
solid.
What does it cost to
$99
join?
a month.
$99 a month.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's pretty sick. Like I have a pretty solid premium base around like 2,000 a month, MRR, right?
Yeah.
And so I've risen the price from, it was first $11.99, $29.99, now $99 a month, right?
Wow.
And so I just made that switch, not seeing a decrease in upgrades, just seeing as much. But the thing that I did to make that switch, right, just add more value.
Yeah.
Like I do office hours on marketing like 2 times a week for an hour a week, right?
Sick.
I have that in a couple hours,
Sick.
and then I also, send a post every week. They get access to all the paid posts and databases, the Slack channel, like, a directory of people in there, there's CMOs, VCs and stuff. So like, $99 a month, like I think it's a very good deal if you're like a true marketing nerd. I don't think, maybe not a 17-year-old kid who's just trying to figure it out. That's the free newsletter. But if you're like a CMO or a founder or like a young hustler, who's got a little money to spend, like I think it's a good deal, right? And you can meet a lot of people who are, further ahead than you. And so that's like, I'm very bullish on the premium base, right? Like I want to sell ads and I do sell ads, but like, that's what I want to grow. And so all right, you've run ads for a living. You've done $30 million in ads, right? Right. Like $30 million in ad spend, right?
Yeah.
Small boy numbers now.
To some people.
True.
I'm telling
and so the question here is like, say I'm creating an ad.
Yeah.
How would you create an ad for that offering?
So there's 2 ways to go about it. One is to create an ad for your newsletter and just promoting the free newsletter. And then the moment someone signs up for your newsletter, giving them an offer for the premium subscription, right? Not rocket science. It's like, hey, every week I'm going to send you the 3 best memes that are working for you to rip off or for you to copy and paste into your own niche. And I'm going to walk you through like 3 examples every single week, and it's totally free. I give my email. The second step, what I call S2, right, could be a landing page that says, you signed up for this because you're interested in XYZ. If you're really serious about it, I have a community of 200 people who are getting access to all of this other stuff. Here's a free 7-day trial because I want to make sure that you come to my office hours every single Wednesday, right? And then you A/B test that landing page, right? This is why I'm saying it's so important to have some sort of cash cow to be able to invest into ads so you can test your landing page. Is it a VSL, a 3-minute VSL of you waving and then they click the play button and then they see you talking about, the script that I just read, you just joined because you're interested in XYZ. If you're really serious about it, if not, no worries. Like this offer will be available, or you can always join the community later. That's one way to do it, right? That second step after someone signs up. And then again, you're going to be making money from them over the next year, over the next 2 years, over the next 5 years, if your audience content fit is good. Yeah. So if you can keep them coming around, they might not purchase right then and there, but they might purchase 3 weeks down the line, 3 months down the line, 3 years down the line. Yeah. Or, right, they might be a perfect client for your agency or for your consulting or for your service businesses. So that's why I'm saying like it's the funnel on the front end that you can upsell them into, but then it's also having multiple offers where every week or every other week you can promote a different thing. So it's not the same thing that you're promoting every single week. And then you share like insights from the office hours in a little blurb every single week, like insight from the office hours. That way it's subconsciously in their brain every single week. Like, oh yeah, maybe I should join. Like this is fine the week I'm ready to join. Cool.
So I have a question as well. Is like, I have a bit of a cash cow, right? So the street interviews are doing $20K a month. Ghostwriting's doing around like 10 to 15 a month, right? Mm-hmm. Then got the newsletters like, 2-3. Yeah. So I have the cash cow a little bit, right? I want to grow it a bit more.
Yeah, of
who
course.
doesn't, right?
Of course,
I'd
yeah.
like 100, maybe 200K a month, right? And so the question is like, how do I best promote my services in a newsletter? Like, what's the way to do that without being a little like a little spammy, right? Like, I want, my newsletter, people don't come for the curation. People come for my writing and my ideas, right? They come for my humor. They come for like the stories.
Yeah.
How do I promote that without, taking away from the value?
Yeah. The answer is just to be a genuine human being. So the moment you start saying
I'm not a human being.
Not to go full Gary Vee, but the answer is just to be a genuine human. So the moment you start saying limited time, I'm only accepting 3 clients, all of this stuff, like, you immediately take away the trust that you've built with the audience. And so, I'll ask you, right? If you had to write 2 sentences at the bottom of your newsletter to get people interested to get people who might be interested in working with you as a client to reach out to you, literally hit reply and say, I'm interested. I raise my hand. I'd like to learn more about working with the MemeLord, the guy who literally wrote the book on it.
Yeah.
What would those 2 sentences be?
I would say, let's start with
Like PS.
for ghostwriting.
What would this say?
For ghostwriting, PS, I write for Product Hunt, Jam, a bunch of founders, VCs. If you're looking for, a ghostwriter who has, a sense of humor, but can also write smart posts, just hit reply, right? And so that's one service I offer, can do it for the man on the street. If you're looking for, viral TikToks or organic content every week, right? Turn your, man on the street as a service, like put your Instagram on autopilot, something like that. Like put your street interviews on autopilot. Maybe that's the hook. Some tagline like that. Yeah, that's really interesting. Just kind of at the end, it's so funny. I think we should talk about this for a second. Is what marketing things show that somebody's not being a real human? Because that's a hilarious one. Every time somebody says we only have 3 spots left, bro, this is BS. That is an arbitrary constraint.
Hold on. It's all about the context.
Okay.
So if your newsletter is written in the tone of I, right, then the moment you say I have 3 spots left, even if it's true because you just hired someone and you truly are building an agency and you only have capacity until you hire the next person, that would be a little less human-y, a little less genuine. But if there's an ad in there that's like brought to you by, XYZ other agency selling XYZ other services, and they say, right, we only take 3 clients a month because the work we do is really complicated, that's totally fine and genuine. Right. So it's about the context of where this literal like sentence is in the template of the newsletter.
It's funny though.
So when you write from personal, you shouldn't do that. But if it's in an ad, right? If it's a Facebook ad, you can absolutely say we only take on 5 clients a month. If it's on your website, you can absolutely do that kind of stuff.
Do you think that's true though? Like this
100% it works every time.
No, I know.
If the context is
right.
But
any agency could take on more clients, right? Like you could always just that's an arbitrary constraint. Come on.
Not necessarily, because how many people full-time work for you or for your agency, for your consultancy?
I have one contractor, doing interviews for us. And then I have a, occasional writer who helps
0
out.
full-time.
0 full-time.
Beyond you. Okay.
Right. Yeah.
So when you get up to 10 people full-time, you know that you need a certain amount of hours of each person to fulfill each client. And you know that if your team is going to onboard another 2 clients, you know that they're going to get overworked and they're going to produce shitty work. And therefore that client's going to churn way faster. In theory, absolutely. You could take on 400 clients tomorrow, but a smart business owner who's maybe, a little bit further along in the agency journey than you are, they understand that they actually can't take on 20 clients tomorrow.
Long-term games. That's really smart.
It's not even long-term games. It's just unit economics. It's just like unit economics of a service business, of a people service business, where the humans are actually servicing the revenue. It's not necessarily something where you can go on and take on 10 clients tomorrow. Because if you do go and take 10 clients tomorrow and you know that every single person can only handle 6 clients at a time, yes, you can go find that next person, but it's going to take a while for that person to learn your process, learn your systems, learn your secret sauce, they're not going to be able to keep those clients, those 10 clients that you just brought on faster. So yes, you can take on 10 clients. And when you're young and you're trying to grow your agency and you're trying to get up to 100K a month, 200K a month, 100%, do everything you can, take every single client, whatever they want you to do. I mean, my agency, when we first sat down, it was like, you know, what did you do before this? I had a Facebook and Google ads agency for 5 years. The first year was not just Facebook and Google ads. The first year when someone said, you know, I need a logo. Okay. You know, fire up Canva and here's 20 options, right? Like, oh, I need this, I need that. Like when you're just getting started, when you're at 10, 20, even 30, 40K a month, you're saying yes to everything. But like that kind of marketing works well. But again, it's all about context. Where it is in the newsletter, is it in an ad? Do you have a justification for it, right? Like we only hire the top 1% of talent, right? And so we, like as an example, like you could be an agent that says, we only hire the top 1% of talent, and every single media buyer that we work with, every single Facebook ad media buyer that we hire can only take on 5 clients at a time. So we only have capacity for 2 more. That's a narrative that makes all the sense in the world, that's justified, that then creates a sense of urgency for people to be like, yo, I need to sign up now. And then you start having a wait list, and then that creates a whole other kind of marketing mechanism or strategy that you can tap into. Very different from memes make millions. But
yeah, it is.
But it can work. So back to like the PS thing, right? The way you said it was great. 2 other strategies I would give you to seem even more genuine, right? People love getting help, and people love seeing other people helping other people. So literally the sentence you gave, like if I work with Product Hunt and XYZ and XYZ, and if you're interested in, you know, having a ghostwriter or having a MemeLord help you out, you know, hit reply, great. Simply by putting at the start of that, every week I get requests from newsletter subscribers about what it's like to work with me, right? I've created a 1-pager, hit reply and let me know. That way, you know, you have more clarity on what it's like to work with me. Pretty genuine.
Interesting idea.
Right?
Yeah.
Pretty genuine. You're helping them help you.
And it's true.
Right? And 100% it's true.
Yeah.
Right? All of your clients come inbound.
Yeah. I want to talk about something as well. It's like, there's this really good quote that I think you'll like by Edgy. It's marketing, or when you're marketing a product you like, it's education. When you're marketing a product that you don't believe in, it's propaganda. And I feel like we're both talking about this as like marketing stuff you believe in, and like being a genuine person. Like that's just education. You're just helping people. You're just being a genuine person. I think a lot of people don't understand that about marketing, and they like the best marketers are just like helping people. Like I believe in my book because like I literally stole the strategies in my book, grew my Instagram, made tens of thousands of dollars from that, right?
Yeah.
From writing my book, taking the strategies and doing it, right?
100%.
And so if you believe in your product, you know, marketing's not a dirty word, right? And so this is going to the question, how did you become MarketingMax? Branded as MarketingMax. What was the thought process behind that? And you know, at first when I saw your Twitter, to be honest, I was a little turned off because I was like, this guy is MarketingMax. Like, you know, I'm a marketer, but why is he MarketingMax? I'm marketing Jason. Fuck this guy. You know, like what's so special about him? So how did you decide on that branding? And what was the thought process behind that? Is it just a alliteration of marketing and Max? Because it's a good name.
It's interesting. I've never heard anyone say to my face that they were turned off by it, although I'm sure people have had that reaction to it. I'm not saying that I'm the world's best marketer by any means.
You're pretty damn good.
I am middle of the pack. If on a good day, I'm middle of the pack. But I was fully inspired by Social Savannah. I don't know if you're familiar with her.
No.
She's absolutely incredible. TikTok creative media buyer. She has a TikTok media buying creative agency, and her content's fire. And I used to see her like headline speak at conferences. And I always thought, man, like if I'm reading a bunch of names of people that I've never heard of, or just like regular names, and I see Social Savannah, like that stands out to me. And it took me a while to really like feel comfortable using the name MarketingMax because it's so broad. But I just thought like that in and of itself can take on its own persona. And it has, as evident by the story I told earlier with the wedding right? My friend that I met on Twitter was at my wedding. Like, I can't tell you how many friends I have who tell me I'm saved in their phone, like my number is saved in their phone as MarketingMax. Like, it's taken on a personality way bigger than I could have ever been, or way bigger than I could have ever done. It also helps me do a little bit more of the edgy stuff for my own consciousness. It helps me say, like, this isn't Max, like me doing it. This is MarketingMax doing it.
I don't even know his last name. I met him in a random apartment in New York. We've never met in person. And I just know him as MarketingMax. I have no idea what his last name is. Still, like, we're in the middle of this hour-long conversation. I have no idea.
Yeah, and it's not all that hard to find. But and I don't, it's not like the total anon accounts, like the bow-tied people, but like I want people to buy into the MarketingMax brand and not the me brand. And there's so much overlap for sure. Like, I'm a golfer. Like, I golf all the time. That's a big part of who I am. I played golf in college, and I tweet pictures on the golf course. Like, I'm a golfer, like MarketingMax golfs. But just by having that different name and being able to kind of separate it out, like, 1 degree of separation makes me feel more comfortable. But I think it also, there's a power in a brand more than, a name. And my friend Phil Rivers always says, like, a name is what you make of it at the end of the day. Like, Google could have been nothing. Like, Tony Robbins, Cody Sanchez, Alex Hermoso, like, all these people that a lot of us Twitter creators in our echo chamber look up to, like, their names were created into something. And I just thought, like, MarketingMax will stand out in a sea of everyone using their own name. And it's worked out really, really, really well for me so far. But I'm sure there are people that get turned off by it. I'm also trying something the last few months. Like, my Twitter banner is like Mount Rushmore. I don't know if you've seen this. My Twitter banner is Mount Rushmore, and it's Elon Musk, Warren Buffett, MarketingMax, and I think Steve Jobs, but I rotated Steve Jobs out to Gary Vee. And so, like, it's taking on a little bit more of an ego thing. And I'm sure that turns people off too, because they see MarketingMax and they think I'm whatever. Like, I don't have in my bio, I've seen a lot of people put, like, world's greatest marketer, Forbes 2025 or 2050 or whatever. Like, I'm not trying to claim that I'm the best. I'm just trying to have fun with it and really trying to tap into something that is bigger than just one person or bigger than a name.
Speaking of Mount Rushmore, and that's actually hilarious. I love the MarketingMax. It's like goofy, and I like it. Sorry. And question: how do you build social proof? Something I'm writing about, mimetic desire, right? It's this idea that we copy other people's desires. And so I interviewed the guy in my book, actually, Luke Burgess, and talked about that. It's like, when you see a post going viral, you're more likely to go like and favorite it because, there's proof that other people like it. When you see, like, I've worked with Product Hunt, people are more likely to work with me because it's a big brand, right? Or invested by Andreessen Horowitz. Every VC just waits for a lead investor because they want to see somebody smart is, like, taking the bet, right? It's all mimetic, all social proof, right? Yeah. So do you have any strategies around that? I know you do a good job of that, sold a 7-figure ad agency, that kind of stuff. Anything else of the sort?
Oh, I can go on a couple different tangents with this, but it's interesting. Like, one of my so I do a big recap of my year every year with 3 other entrepreneur friends who are also content creators in completely different niches, mostly on different platforms. Like, one's, like, huge on TikTok, like hundreds and hundreds of thousands of followers on TikTok. Another huge on LinkedIn. Like, we all just meet up every year in person for a weekend every January and kind of recap our year. And one of the biggest things that I realized in this annual conference called the G5 Summit every year, this year, one of my big things was, like, I don't practice what I preach enough, particularly when it comes to marketing. So I always preach about 3 things being the most important things about marketing. I preach about outcomes. You should always talk about outcomes, not what your product does, but what the outcome is of using it. You should always use social proof as much as you possibly can everywhere. Literally in, like, call to action buttons in the name of the business, like, use social proof as much as possible. And then frequency, right? Frequency. The more times you get in front of someone, the more likely they are to buy. This is, like, the thing I believe in the most. And that's why I'm so bullish on newsletters. And I believe every single company on planet Earth should have a newsletter. But I basically came back from the G5 Summit this year and wrote those 3 things: outcome, social proof and frequency on a huge piece of paper. And it's the only thing I have right above my laptop. And so it's like a constant reminder to like always go back to those 3 core truths. Like always, always, always go back to outcome. What is the outcome of buying your product or service? Social proof, use social proof everywhere. There's literally never a time where you're using too much social proof. I've never seen a landing page or an ad where there's too much social proof. And then frequency, just getting in front of people. The more times you get in front of someone, the more likely they are to buy. And so I just wrote those things out. I have them right above my laptop. So the moment I look up, the moment my eye glances away from my laptop for a second, my 2 big screens next to them also, like those are the only things that I see. Everything should map back to there. And so to answer your question about, how to build on social proof, like you start working for free. Like my agency's first client was $250 a month. I was charging them $250 a month to manage their Facebook and Instagram ads. I sold my agency and I was charging $10,000 a month retainers. So like you start at $250, you grow, you grow, you grow. And the other thing is you just try it. You just test. Like I recognize having in my Twitter bio, like built and sold a 7-figure ad agency, like immediately establishes social proof. But again, like if I put myself in the shoes of who I want to follow me, if I made a list of all of the 5 things that might be the most impressive or might build the most social proof in like 6 words, that would be at the top of the list. So that's another little exercise for someone.
I think every startup is building a media brand and distribution brand. Like every startup, every tech company is now a media brand, right? And we as techies, like we can't rely on, Verge or New York Times to write good stuff about us anymore. They hate us. So we have to build our own audiences, right? That's why I love ghostwriting for founders, because that's what I do. I write for nerds, and I love nerds because I'm a nerd, right?
Yeah.
Like in another life, I'm a startup founder. Maybe in a few years, that's something I do, right?
Don't count yourself out.
Right?
Yeah.
And so it's like, how do you recommend it for startups? And if I was, wanted to build a newsletter for a startup, I do that. And like, what advice would you have to like really make it pop? And do you think startups should be building newsletters that only promote their products? Do you think they should like build out like a whole ass media brand and like have a whole monetized thing? Like where's your head at around that?
Yeah, I fundamentally believe that every single company on planet Earth should have a newsletter, period, end of story. It can take on a million different forms. And so if you're a big VC-backed startup and you have the money, you should absolutely be creating a separately branded media channel. It doesn't have to be a newsletter. It could be a YouTube channel, a podcast,
a meme page.
It could be a meme page. It could be a Facebook group. Like these are all owned assets. And net at the end of the day, to your point, like you are either spending money to have other people rent their attention to you. So like you gave the example of New York Times or The Verge or anything else, like you're going to be very lucky to get a write-up in there without paying a PR person.
And you're not getting a positive write-up anymore. It's 2024. That's just not happening.
You're not getting a positive write-up.
They hate us.
Unless you pay for it, right? Yeah. So you're either going to pay for Facebook ads to rent their attention. You're going to pay for a PR person to get, rented attention from The Verge or New York Times or TechCrunch or anywhere else. Or you're going to invest that money into building your own attention, your own channel. I happen to think newsletters are one of the easiest ways to do it because you can pretty much automate the whole thing. But I think where a lot of brands get messed up is they think that their newsletter or their meme page or their Facebook page or Facebook group or any one of these own channels has to be huge. It really, really, really doesn't. And in fact, it's almost better to stay small. That's why I love newsletters so much. I don't know how many times I can say the word newsletters in 2 minutes, but that's part of the reason I love newsletters so much is because every single company on planet Earth has an email list. And most of the time they're not doing anything with it.
It's
just sitting
wild,
there.
Dude.
And so, if you have an email list with 2,000 people, right? You likely haven't contacted many of them since they first gave you their email, or maybe you're only sending them not genuine, not human marketing slang and speak and BS like we talked about before. And so creating a newsletter is an easy way to convert that dormant email list into something that's building brand affinity for you every single week and something that you can use to convert those 2,000 people into customers of your product. So like, let's say you're a creator, right? How many newsletter subscribers do you have?
15K.
15,000 newsletter subscribers. So like, let's say you're a newsletter creator and you send a newsletter out every month and you're not really happy with it, right? Taking a couple pages out of my playbook, watching a couple other of my podcast episodes, seeing how other people do it, literally just researching, you can turn that into a cash cow to generate customers for your own business. And so the example I always use is like, if you're a business and you have literally 2,000 emails and you rarely contact them ever, then once you start building that newsletter up every single week, you're building that brand affinity, you hit them with that right hook. So once a month, you're saying, hey, become a customer of my agency or buy my SaaS product or whatever. If only 10% of those people will ever purchase from you, right? If your lifetime value of an agency client's, call it 50 grand, 10% of 2,000, that's 20 people times 50K lifetime value. That's a lot of money just sitting there, gold, waiting to be taken. Dude, you just need to build up that affinity and you need to start owning that audience and tapping into that gold mine instead of going to Facebook, going to The Verge and going to TechCrunch and renting to find new people to come into your funnel. So that's why I'm so bullish on it. And that's why I think every company on planet Earth should have a newsletter of some sort. But yeah,
it's funny.
I don't know if that answers your question.
No,
Sorry,
it does. I've talked to businesses before. The same thing. It's like there are dollars sitting in your email list, just like thousands of dollars, and you're just hitting them with, here's a 20% off sale every like 3 days, or here's a cool picture of like some team outing we did. Like, bro, like you just say some cool stuff, make it entertaining, like, like educate people about whatever. It could be a kitchen remodeling brand. It could be, a kickboxing gym. It could be whatever. 100%. And there is like, not even just thought leadership, a kickboxing gym, whatever. Make a health recipe once a week. That's like a newsletter right there. And like all these churn members or whatever, like go sign up, right? And they're just dollars sitting in your inbox and not taking advantage of them. Feels so dumb. It makes me sad. Yeah. I don't know if it makes you sad. It makes me like a little sad because when I send a newsletter and make money every time I send a newsletter, great feeling, right? Like, like it's pretty cool. Like send a newsletter, get us, get either an upgrade, 10 minutes later, get an upgrade, or maybe they hit me up about a service that I offer, right? It's like, why isn't everybody doing this?
That doesn't make me sad necessarily, but it might if I
makes you
start
happy
creating
it's an opportunity, right?
If I start creating more content, maybe eventually it'll make me sad. But yeah, there's a huge opportunity for brands who are sitting on not just email lists. Like so many brands don't even have a Facebook pixel installed, and so they can't even retarget the people that visit their website, right? Like 2 out of every 100 people, plus or minus, who ever visit your website are going to purchase something for you or fill out your form on average. Of course, industries change with conversion rate optimization. You hire good people, you can get that number higher. But that's 98 other people that you can retarget with a Facebook ad. You can get to subscribe to your newsletter and hit them multiple times because, as we know, someone needs to see or hear your brand 5 times before they decide if they're going to purchase your product. If not, they need to see your brand 1 million more times given the amount of logos and content we consume every day. That was a study done, I think, like 10 years ago.
Yeah. I guess one last question.
Yeah.
Because we're running out of time here, is what channels would you recommend advertising for a newsletter?
So I have with some of my like consulting clients, because I just started to take on consulting clients where I help them grow their newsletter, talk about a lot of the stuff that we talked about today, convert subscribers into customers of their businesses and everything else. I have like tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3. So tier 1 is always going to be ads and other newsletters. And it just makes sense because people who read other newsletters are used to consuming written content in their inbox. They make time in their day to sit in their inbox and read newsletters. So they're most likely going to be used to consuming or ready to consume your content in the same format also in their inbox. That's always going to be tier 1. And there's a couple niches and nuances to that, but that's always tier 1. Tier 2 is always going to be Facebook ads. Maybe you can get away with Twitter ads, LinkedIn ads, depending on the platform, but Facebook ads, bar certain niches, is always going to be the best. And then tier 3, you're looking at co-registration. So like tools like Sparkloop or Beehive. I don't even touch that stuff anymore. It's
really
the quality is such crap. And
it's not good.
I'm on a crusade to try to get every newsletter subscriber to not grow their list with co-reg.
It's just I'm not putting money in there.
The funnel just doesn't make any sense. Like someone who sees an ad or someone who follows you on Twitter or not even follows you, they see a viral tweet of yours and your plug pops up and it's like, if you like this content, you'll also like my stuff. They're going to be so much higher of a subscriber, a higher quality subscriber than someone who signed up for a different newsletter that was maybe marketing related, but they would never in a million years post a meme because that's just not their brand, right? Suddenly they're going to start getting your newsletter all about how you use humor and memes to generate money. Like, you just wasted $1 on that, right? The context for which they are signing up is totally backwards. So that's tier 3. And I think if you can find a way to scale tier 1 profitably, then you never really even need to go to Facebook ads. I mean, I spent 6 figures last year on Facebook ads to grow my newsletter.
You're welcome, Zuck.
You're welcome, Zuck. Good thing I own a lot of Meta stock. But
dude, that's a Ponzi scheme. Put money, make it.
Yeah. And I also get the credit card points. But yeah, I mean, I spent 6 figures last year on that, and now I'm only spending on ads on other newsletters because I figured out the right funnel to make that happen. Nice. But yeah, if you have any questions on it, text me, DM me, and I'm happy to help.
Your name in my phone, obviously, MarketingMax. Still don't know your last name. Dude, I have so many ideas from this. Wrapping it up, I'm about to go grab my notebook, jot down ideas. Really appreciate it, bro. Really do.
Thanks for making the time.
Yeah, 100%.
Glad we can do it in person.
Yeah, this was sick.
First MarketingMax episode in person.
First episode I've ever done in person. This was very cool.
Thanks for listening to the MarketingMax show. It takes me and my team hours to produce it every single week, but it only takes you 15 seconds to hit that share button and text it to a friend, drop it in a Slack group, or share it on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, or any of your favorite social platforms. I appreciate you taking the time to check out my content. Have an awesome day.